Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video. And in today's video, I'm going to be predicting the Bormann versus Bustillos fight. If you're on the around here though and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you do need like video, and let's get straight into it. So going into this fight, Bormann is 15-0 with 7 KOs, and Bustillos is 7-0 with no KOs. This fight is for the WBC Interim World Minimum Weight Championship. Bormann's last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Corzo, and Bustillos' last fight was a win via unanimous decision versus Ramirez. This is in Bormann's home country of Germany. Bormann is 33 and Bustillos is 22. The kind of whole reason I'm speaking not just about this fight, I'm going to speak about other fights on the card in just a moment. It's just an interesting card. There's not many high level kind of Germany boxing cards about at the moment, and they're growing. Eventually they're going to be getting there, and there's going to be some big events, and this is a step in the right direction, definitely. And so let's speak about the rest of the cards. So we got Sing Kionchik versus Meg Wisai. I'm crap at pronouncing names, of course. If you've watched this channel you will know that. For the IBO World and IBF Youth Light Heavyweight titles, in which I think Sin Kionchik will win via unanimous decision. He's not really especially known as of recent for his stoppages, but he is a much bigger opponent, like taller wise, than his opponent, and he's got momentum behind him, and I believe that he'll be able to win this one. I also think he's probably been in there with a set of opponents, but I still think this is, overall, I think all the fighters on this card are having their probably toughest tests against the opponents that they're facing, and that's something you always want to see, growth in the sport. And also on this card is Bauer versus Gonzalez for the IBO World and IBF Youth Super Middleweight titles, in which I think Bauer will win via TKO in round 2. Gonzalez has suffered a loss versus a lesser opponent. Bauer has suffered a draw to, I believe, a lesser opponent, and I just think in general Bauer is just going to be too much and going to be able to get him out there relatively convincingly. And he is a little bit more known for stoppages. I would say that's nobody's entirely known for stoppages on this out of these 3 fights I'm talking about, but yeah, I still think that Bauer's going to win convincingly in this one TKO at round 2. But let's go back to the Bormann-Bustillos fight. So Bormann punches in twos. She's got a good solid jab. She's got decent movement. She maintains distance well. She sits down on her punches. She's faced adversity after getting badly cut. Not in her last fight, but the fight before she got quite badly cut, and she managed to, of course, face adversity and come back to win. She wasn't really ever losing in the first place, but still, she's got good range management and she has grit. That kind of grit was shown later in the fight, where she was just kind of getting, she got her opponents up against the ropes. This is the second to last fight this was for her, and just managed to just throw pretty much the kitchen sink at her. Obviously didn't get her out, but she still managed to win that one. And I mean, there's not loads of tape about either of these fighters. There's a decent amount, but not loads. So I'm just going off what I can watch, to be honest. But I still think that a matchup like this is going to blast them up onto the big stage, and hopefully get them in big fights after this. And I mean, WBC interim means WBC champions next. Bormann as a fighter, she headhunts a bit. She can only really punch from arms at times, or she does really only punch from her arms at times. When I say that, I mean she'll sit down on her punches, but she'll just not throw her whole body into her punch. She won't use her shoulders as much as she probably, or at least I would like to see. I think she has the power there. If she doesn't punch as much from the arms, then she'll probably be able to stop more of her opponents than the 7 that she already has. But I just think at times she does kind of just only punch from her arms. But it's not the worst thing in the world. It is if you can get opponents out there, of course. It's just maybe going up the levels a bit. She might have to be forced into doing that, or may struggle a little bit. She's not that fast. She does duck her head down a bit when she's throwing. She gets a bit more sloppy later on in the fight. That is also another problem with throwing from the arms. It doesn't look quite as nice, and does look a bit sloppy. And like I said, a bit later on, she is a little bit more sloppy. But overall, a solid fighter. Of course, every fighter that I'm going to talk about is a solid fighter. Let's speak about Bustillos. Bustillos, she has a good defensive movement. She fights on the outside of the back foot. She's got good shot selection. She changes levels well. She picks shots well. She's, in my opinion, a more complete boxer than what Bormann is. Of course, she's the younger fighter by 11 years, and so she's going to have that kind of youthfulness about her. She's got faster hands, she's got good head movements, she'll invite you in and she'll pick the shots well, like I said. Um, Overall, I think she's one of the more entertaining fighters, and I think that kind of speed, like I said, it's the youthfulness about her and that athleticism. Um, it's impressive, and the way that she does counterpunch, and I suppose not even always counterpunch. She just sets up her combinations well and does throw combinations, and always seems to be quite accurate and does change levels well. She'll go to the body. I would something like I said, Bormann does kind of headhunt a little bit, doesn't go to the body quite as much as probably I would like to see. She's nowhere near as powerful as what I'd say Bormann is, and like I said, if Bormann's deciding to throw more with her kind of shoulders into it, and even just in general, she is going to land big shots, and then big shots are always going to be there. But Bustillos, like I said, she's got good movement, and so if she could possibly get out of it, I think she's got better movement than what Bormann does. And so Bustillos, I suppose she's less experienced as well, of course. She occasionally gets caught due to a low guard. That's kind of that youthfulness, cockiness, I suppose, to an extent about it. Not even that, but just trying to use her movement instead of using the guard. And I mean, if you can put them both together, then it's a very impressive thing, but not that many people can really do that. But like I said, she's got good movement, and so she's not always going to get hit, and it's just a few that she probably will get caught with. She can be a bit overly excitable at times. She'll kind of jump into range, jump into shots, and so that does mean that if she is going to get hit, she could get hit flush with a shot there if she is jumping into range. It's something that, yeah, of course, it shows the lesser experience about her, but it's just something that you probably want to get out of the habit of doing. It just means, I suppose, to an extent, she pounces at the same time. Like I said, neither of these fighters in the whole kind of these three fights I've mentioned have that tough of a test yet, and this will probably be their toughest tests. And so that's what makes this whole card interesting, of course. Bormann is the favourite for this fight, and I think that Bustillos will win via unanimous decision. I think she is a more complete boxer, like I said, and I believe that she can most probably outbox Bormann, and of course, like I said, the toughest test for all. And so I believe this is a good matchup and will end and will probably be a good fight. I think Bustillos, it'll be interesting to see what she's like come the later rounds, because she hasn't ever fought 10 rounds before. And so, yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting, but I think she'll be able to do enough, especially in the early rounds, to be able to win. And then don't know who's the WBC champion. I probably should have found that out, but I put a couple options here of who she could fight next, depending on if she wants to go back up to the light flyweight division or stay in the minimum weight division. Of course, she'll be the WBC interim champion, so she probably will want to stay there. Nguyen is an option. Yukasa Valle is an option. Estrada is an option. Neri Plata, if she wants to go back to light fly, is another option. Quite a few options there. Wouldn't surprise me if any of them happen, because of course all these fighters are going to be wanting fresh, I suppose, blood to an extent, and I think all these fighters will be an interesting fight. I mean, 8-0 fighters in the women's division especially have fought for world championships at lower kind of records. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did, like this, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.